Good morning. It is Sunday, October 24th. We are kicking off week 7 of the NFL. Believe it or not, we are in week 7. If you're looking for King Michael, he is in the legit limo on his way down from Providence to New Jersey to watch the Giants play the Panthers today. So hopefully he'll be able to call in as the show goes on. But you got the genius today hosting, and I also got M1 joining as usual. So the two of us are going to kind of take it from a little bit of a different perspective. We're going to dive a little deeper into some of the games, talk more about it from a sports betting angle. Because he and I have definitely been heavier on that side of stuff than the King. Although you will hear him brag about how he went 11-2 last week, which is amazing. But Master M1 and I know it doesn't matter unless you put money down. So we are putting money down. We are doing it every single day, grinding it. NFL, college football, basketball, UFC, all those things. So today we will talk about the NFL from a little bit more of a sports betting perspective as we go through all the games for this week. So that said, joining me, M1, Mastradamus, Mr. Never Left. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I'm glad that you said that because, I've had great weeks. You've had great weeks, and they never talk about how great we do. But then once he goes 11-2, we got to keep on hearing about it. But then I'm like, well, let me see what you put in on bets. Let me see what you did. And one thing I want to say, last week, for the first week in this whole season, a lot of the favorites covered. And that isn't normally how it happens. I'm a big dog guy. I actually think this is the week of the dog. But you never really see as many favorites win as they did last week.
Yeah, and last week was another one where we said it during the show. I didn't have a ton of action going into it. There weren't a lot of things that I liked, and it's probably what you said. Like you and I are trying to look at things with an eye, like a view away from what the public's doing. The public typically bets favorites. So in order to do what we're trying to do, you got to find dogs. And if we don't find dogs, we don't bet them. And last week, we didn't really put too much down. So.
Not to interrupt you, but I did walk into two traps last week. I walked into Pittsburgh against Seattle, and I walked into Buffalo against Tennessee. And if you would have looked at the money line of where they were going, everybody was on Pittsburgh and everybody was on Buffalo. And that should have made us do what we normally do, and that's walk away from the money, run away, actually. And there's traps, and that's what you got to do. You got to avoid the traps, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, those two games are good ones to talk about quick from last week because that Buffalo game, I didn't bet the full game because I was worried that it was a trap and like everyone saw Buffalo was so much better than Tennessee, on and on. But I bet Buffalo second half -3, so just second half bet. And when they decided not to go for that field goal, try to go for the win, I disagree with the decision. I think you went back and forth. There's analytics involved, all that stuff. But they didn't go to overtime. I had no chance of winning that one. So I was proud of myself that I resisted the bait initially, but I still got trapped. And then the Seattle Steelers game, like I don't understand how like this is why it's NFL football, why it's so hard to do because no team is so bad that they can't squeak one out. And like Seattle figured out, hey, if we run the ball, they can't stop it. And they tore them apart in the second half. And then unfortunately, Geno Smith did Geno Smith things, and they ended up losing by a field goal. But there wasn't enough for Pittsburgh to cover.
It's actually crazy because when I think of Seattle, I think of them over the last 10 years. They've just been a run-oriented team.
Yeah.
They went away from that. And now that they have an injury to Russell Wilson, they go back to it. Maybe they're going to find themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
They got Rasheed Penny coming back. Alex Collins has been very dependable, but they found a little something there. And, of course, it was against the Steelers, but they got to get back to what they do well, and that's run the ball. That's what they've been known to do.
Yeah, and Alex Collins looked really good. He looked like I'm a Chris Carson guy. I have him in a keeper league, and I've been riding him, for the last 3 years, which is probably too long for a running back, but that's another story. But Collins looked like he had a little more pop than Carson. Carson's a banger. Carson destroys you, but Collins was hitting those holes so fast. I was like, Carson might be in trouble even when he comes back healthy, especially with Penny coming back today. All right, so we don't usually dwell on the games from the weeks past, so those are just a couple that were worth bringing up for the way they played out. But let's jump right into today's games. We got 6 games at 1 o'clock. I think it's 3 or 4 at 4, then Sunday Night Football, and obviously Monday Night Football. So what we're going to do here is start with the 1 o'clock slate. and we're going to do it in what they call rotation order, which just means the order that they are listed with the sports book. So starting first, we have Cincinnati at Baltimore. So Cincinnati is a six to 6.5 point favorite. I'll check the most recent line in a second here. It looks like it went down to 6. So Cincinnati getting 6 at Baltimore, and there's no weather to worry about. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago. If you're not checking weather on your games now, you're crazy. So we're gonna. I did a quick check on all the weather for all these games today. So we'll hit those as we go through. But so Cincinnati +6 at Baltimore. We got a couple injuries on each side to consider. Baltimore's got Villanueva is questionable. Latavius Murray is out. Watkins is out. Those are kind of big ones on the Baltimore side. Also, Patrick Queen is questionable. On the Cincy side, they're pretty healthy. They have a defensive tackle that's questionable today. Shelvin, and Jalen Davis, cornerback, is questionable. So it looks like the injury favors Cincinnati a little bit. But anyway, M1, I'll let you preview the game, then I'll go through some of my notes. So again, Cincinnati +6, and the over/under is 46.
Cincinnati, they've been scrappy. I love them. Plus, I got them at 6.5.
Yeah.
I think they cover this game. They could potentially win this game outright. They've been in every game against good competition. Devontae Freeman has been looking very good. He's explosive. He's got his pep in his step back. But he's a different back, and he's the only really back that they got. Tyson Williams, you might see him a little bit more today, but they just don't trust him. So I think this is going to be a Devontae Freeman game. Now, as good as Freeman has looked, he's still a few years removed, not a lot of games under his belt. That could be beneficial, for healthy feet, good legs, strong legs, not, just same with Rashid Penny we were talking about. Like, he's coming back in the midseason, and he's got fresh legs. But I don't know about Devontae Freeman. I like him if you're doing DFS. I don't know if I like him over the span of the game, being a ball hog, a ball carrier, a bell cow. So, you're going to see the Ravens do what they have been kind of doing all year long, and that's, dropping back, tossing the ball. But that Cincinnati Bengals defense is damn good. So I expect Cincinnati not only to cover that 6.5, they could outright win the game, and this could be a letdown spot for the Ravens. But I definitely expect the Bengals to cover that spread.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, this is a good game to get into a couple of things we always talk about. You said you got Cincinnati +6.5. Right now it's down to 6. So you're on the right side of the line movement, which is huge, especially around key numbers. So anyone watching that's not aware, it'll make sense when you hear it. But key numbers in the NFL are 3, 6, 7, 10. 13, 14, but the big ones are 3, 6, and 7. So getting Cincinnati at 6.5 versus 6 is huge. If you're looking for a bet and the number keeps bouncing between 2.5, 3, and 3.5, depending on the side you want, getting 2.5 can save you a ton of money versus getting 3. Or if you're trying to play the dog, getting the 3.5 can make you a ton of money instead of the 3. So it's good you got the best of that number. So when I looked at this game, you can't deny, Cincinnati is playing really well, especially on defense, both against the run and the pass. And in contrast to that, Baltimore can't stop the run. They're giving up. They're giving up. Let me see. I'll actually pull it up right here. 4.1 yards a carry. No, sorry. 82 rushing yards per game, but they're giving up 4.1 yards a carry. And on passing, the Baltimore's getting torched also. They're giving up 277 yards a game and 7.3 yards per pass attempt, which is crazy. That's a pretty bad number. There's other teams that are worse, but that's not a typical Baltimore defense. And then on the offensive side, as M1 said, Baltimore's looking pretty good, but their offense has pivoted from a run, what you know in the past with the going heavy run, to becoming a passing offense. Lamar's having a great year statistically, but that run game they haven't really found it yet. And hopefully, everyone's correct, and Devontae Freeman is the guy, because when you look and you watch them do the read options. I mentioned this on another show. It looks like there's even confusion. The backs just aren't familiar with Lamar, and because sometimes they try to grab the ball and he pulls it out, and he fumbled on a play like that. He almost fumbled on another one. So they still got some kinks to work out. But overall, everyone would always think Baltimore's a better team. Why? Because they're Baltimore. But you really got to kind of dig into it. Now, when I was looking at this, I was like, let me check the power ratings from a couple of well-known spots, in the industry. And Baltimore is about 5.4 points better than an average team. Cincinnati right now, power ratings wise, is exactly an average team. Now, that's the part that's a little surprising to me because I think Cincinnati is playing better than an average team. But the way you do that, you go through your initial line is you look at your power ratings. Baltimore is 5.4, Cincinnati is 0. So obviously Baltimore gets a 5.4 point advantage. Then you add the Baltimore home field on top, and Baltimore's home field is probably worth 2 to 3 points. So you would say, okay, Baltimore's 5.4 points better than Cincy. Home field is worth a field goal, so that's 8.4. They'll easily cover the 6. But is the Cincinnati power rating right? Because power ratings usually have a lot of weight from the previous season. Even though we're in week 7, a lot of them are still 50 to 70, about 50% to 70% weighted on last season, which is crazy because Cincy was not a very good team. So this one looks like one of those lines where people are going to be like, oh, Baltimore is only a touchdown favorite or less than a touchdown favorite. Let's go that way. But I think I would be worried about a trap here. And I would agree with that one, that if you're going to bet this game, you bet Cincy taking the 6.5.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing about this, right, is I think Baltimore, now that we've seen who they played, they had a good game against the Raiders early in the year, and they looked good against KC. But now we look at KC and we look at the Raiders, and after the Raiders, they were 3-1. Then the Raiders are kind of falling back to earth right now. Since he just came off a great game against the Packers, I think the Packers are probably the best team out of either of their schedules. But the Bengals have been in every game, and now, like what you touched on about with the Ravens giving up the plays on the defense side, Joe Burrow is going to make a nightmare out of that Baltimore defense if they can get that ball going on the run. I do agree, and now we see the spread going from 6.5 to 6. That tells me money's coming in on the Ravens side, so that tells me run the other way. Even if it is, like you said, it's just a half a point. That half a point could be huge.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that is interesting there is I mentioned the Baltimore defense, right? Not that great. You mentioned the pass side, but Joe Mixon can have a big day today if they can't stop if Baltimore can't stop the run. And really, if the only real chance I don't say real chance because Baltimore's a good team, but their best chance is getting pressure on Burrow. His passing rating is much lower when he's under pressure. But if Baltimore cannot get to the quarterback, even if they bring a blitz, he's going to tear them apart. So he could really, really tear them apart. So this could be one of those games where you're sitting on a 6-point bet on the Baltimore side, and it comes out to a last-second field goal because since he can tear them up, and all of a sudden Baltimore wins by 3, and you're sitting there looking, how can I have been such an idiot? So again, that's why we're both kind of on.
And the Ravens just kind of I don't want to say blew their load, but they did. They just got a big victory over the Chargers last week. The score was really kind of inflated because the Chargers shot themselves in the foot times. But that was a huge, huge conference win. But they're in a divisional battle right now. And who wants this game more? I would say it's the Bengals. The Bengals, they want to stake their claim in this division, and this is the time to do it right here, right now.
Yep, exactly. This is going to be the best division in football for a few years. I think if Pittsburgh can sort out the Big Ben issue, it'll be phenomenal because they have so much talent everywhere else. But those 4 teams, man, you're going to hear it for the next 3 to 10 years, depending on how smart they are, and it's going to be great. But the last thing I will say, because I've always been hard on Zach Taylor, he doesn't look that bad this year, and I think he was a little bit desperate. He was kind of making some more aggressive calls to save possibly to save his job, but it's all clicking. Cincinnati looks great. They're on there. This is their chance to show they're for real. All right. So before we move on to the second game, we got a question in the chat here. Good morning and happy football. Full PPR, pick a tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones or new toy Zach Ertz.
I'm going to go with Ricky Seals-Jones today. Zach Ertz is just a lot of tools in Arizona's offense. He's new. Does he know the offense? Does he know where to be? I think Kyler Murray's probably going to wait a little bit to exploit Ertz. I like Ertz in this offense, but I'd go with Ricky Seals-Jones right here right in this matchup. Yeah,
I agree with you for all those reasons. They don't have to force the ball to Ertz. They can bring him on at whatever pace they need to, because everywhere you look, they've got a weapon. All right, cool. So jumping into the second game of the day, this is a game that King Mike L will be broadcasting live from. We got Carolina at the New York Giants. Right now, the Giants are getting 3 points, and the line is 43. The Carolina Panthers are 3-3 right now. They started off 3-0. Great hot start. Everyone on this pod, especially Brother Ray, really was high on Carolina. We liked what we saw in the beginning of the season. They kind of sank, came back down to earth. And then the Giants, kind of as usual, with what's been their sort of MO for the last few years, just didn't even get out of the gate. And they're stuck at 1-5. So, M1, what do you think about this game again? New York getting 3 with the line at 43.
I don't know how the Giants can keep this game close. They have so many injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Carolina has got a pretty damn good defense. Their offense is kind of, I think in a lot better shape than the Giants is. King Michael called for the Giants to win this game outright. He's the NFC East whisperer. I think he's wrong here. I think Carolina takes care of business. I don't see how the Giants can win this game. No.
Now, what do you think about Carolina? You think they're going to kind of roll back into form, or do you think we're seeing what they really are? Because they started off everyone was talking about them as a top team in the NFC, and now they're like middle of the pack. Are they really truly a middle of the pack team, or if they had CMC, would you elevate them again?
CMC is the offense, and he's a very special talent. If they had CMC, I believe that they would be much better suited to take on anybody, but they're definitely middle of the pack. But the Giants are kind of, I don't want to call them bottom dwellers because they've looked good in many occasions this year, but who have they looked good against? They look good against the Redskins. They look good against the Saints, who kind of up and down. But the Carolina Panthers have been they've been in a lot of battles. They're battle tested, and they've been in a lot more close matchups. Even the games that they've lost, they could have won on some occasions. I don't like either of these teams. I've not been really big on Carolina even this year. I like what we're seeing out of DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Sam Darnold looks a lot better in this system than he did in the Jets. But as of right now, Danny Dimes looks good, but who does he have today? Sterling Shepard. And even Sterling Shepard's a little banged up, but that's all they really have today, and they don't have much. Devontae Booker, I would put in as a good DFS play today. I think that he'll have a good day. But, what's this game going to be? 27-17, something like that. What's the over-under on this game?
43.
That's what Vegas is telling you. It's not going to be a high scoring affair. So.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I agree with everything. Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would just feel like this game could end up winding up on the 3. It's almost like it could be a 2017 game, but if I was a betting man, which I am, I would go with Carolina.
Exactly. Yeah, cool. And when I look at the notes I have here, I highlighted all those injuries. Gilmore's out for the Panthers, but he hasn't really played for them yet anyway. And the only other big one is Shaq Thompson. So, that's kind of a piece of their pass rush. So you gotta worry about that a little bit. And Terrace Marshall is out, so that's their third wide receiver. So they'll probably be fine. On Giants side, you got Shepard is probable, Evan Ingram is probable, Galladay out, Andrew Thomas is on IR. John Ross is questionable. Kadarius Toney is out. Slayton is questionable. So they got a ton of questions.
Did you hear about the trade that happened this morning?
What?
Between these two teams.
Really? What is it?
Williams is now a Panther.
I did not know that. What did they get back?
I didn't see. I believe it was a player for a player. But the Giants have given up on Leonard Williams, and now he is a Panther. He's side of Derek Brown.
That's crazy. See, this is an interesting thing with Carolina. Like, I was just asking you, do we think they're for real? Do we think they're going to get back to where they were? They obviously think that they're a playoff team. They wouldn't have gone out to get Gilmore if they didn't think so, and they wouldn't have gone out to get Williams if they didn't think they were a playoff team. And it's very, very interesting because, like, the betting markets are really saying that they've fallen. I guess Carolina inside their building thinks they're better than they've shown so far, which is awesome. I mean, I like the confidence.
What did the Giants say if they give up Leonard Williams, a six overall pick? That was basically they just gave him a contract, and now they moved on from him. So they basically are saying their defense is, it is what it is, and they're going to move on.
Now, didn't they decide to keep him over another interior defensive lineman during the offseason. I forgot the other guy's name. You'll probably remember. Mike would know. There was someone that was really, really good, and they chose to keep Williams over this other guy who left as a free agent. And now they give it up on him. That's crazy. That just shows you how poorly that organization is run right now. That's really, really bad.
Hey, Mike L was spot on. He said basically that the guy, I can't remember the name too, was opening up the door for Williams to basically wreak havoc, and Williams has been basically, non-existent ever since they did move on from him. I can't remember the name either, but now they basically are without two big studs in that defensive line, and we'll see if Carolina can exploit that, which I think they will.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because it was Wilkinson was the other guy that they let leave. that is crazy.
Imagine the revenge factor if you wake up today and you're Leonard Williams and you're traded to the team that you're playing today.
That's amazing. All right, so my only other thoughts on that game. Let me bring up my notes here quick. One thing that I thought was interesting is Rule said he's going to run more than they've run in the past. He's going to commit to the run now. He was saying he wants 33 to 35 rushes per game. That's a lot of rushing in today's NFL, especially without C-Mac. So maybe Chuba Hubbard gets it. They got a couple of backups too, but that'll be interesting to see if they do that today because the Giants can't stop the run or the pass. So he might look like a genius. And then one other guy I want to talk about is Sam Darnold. Now, everyone's saying he's come back down to earth, and he has. But last week, his receivers had 8 drops, and you got to factor that in. Like Robbie Anderson had 3 drops, DJ Moore had 3 drops. And eight altogether. How many? If you have 8 drops on 12 incompletions, I mean, what's really going on? Is it really Darnold's fault? So maybe we are going to see a little bit of a renaissance, a little bit of a uptick. In the Giants.
King Mike L is asking to be put on. He must be in the backstage. He is pissed off right now.
Right on time. King, right on cue.
Hey, did you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Did you?
Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I can't hear you at all.
Okay. Well,
like at all, I can't hear. Hey, why did you guys take so goddamn long to bring me on the show? I'm the face that runs this place. You don't leave me in the waiting room. I come on immediately. You see my face, you stop everything, and you go, we got a breaking news thing, and you bring me and my beard on. Come on, Kev, you're better than that. You're better than that. I know you are.
M1 and I had better things to do. We didn't have time to talk about beards. We're trying to give
I'm having trouble. I can't hear you, right? But here's what I'm going to do for you guys. 1 second. All right? Here's what I'm going to do for you, Kev, because I already picked my games. I'm just trying to get to the NFL slate of games. I'm going to go through them fast. Hold on. I got it here. All right. I got it. Hold on. All right, Kev. Can you hear me while I'm doing this? All right. I'm going to run right through it.
Yes and no.
I'm going to go with the Bengals in an upset over the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Giants +3 over the Panthers. I like the Washington football team over the Packers. They will cover the spread. I am the NFC East whisperer, don't forget. I like the Titans over the Chiefs +4. I like the Falcons -1.5. I like the Jets in the upset +7. I like, I'm going to go with the Lions +16.5. I'll take the Raiders -2. I'll take the Buccaneers -11.5. I'll take Arizona. Went to 19.5. I'll still take Arizona. I'm going to take the Colts in the upset tonight over the 49ers. And then on Monday night, I got the Saints -4.5. Kev, please tell me you heard everything I just said. You got all my picks?
We know your picks. We probably don't agree with all of them, but they were broadcast loud and clear. Yes, they did. They traded Leonard Williams.
Is that a joke, Kev? Is that a joke, Kev?
No, look it up.
Leonard Williams really did get traded? Where would I find that?
Just look up Leonard Williams
trade. Where's that
trade.
in the news?
Yeah.
This morning.
All right, let me go look it up. Thanks for the great news as I'm here for the game, Kev. Thanks for letting me know that Leonard Williams had traded to the Panthers as I go to the Panthers versus the Giants.
Crazy.
Stick with my picks. I was 12-2 last week. I hit a 5-team college parlay yesterday with Notre Dame and Texas A&M and 3 other teams. I won 250. I've been unstoppable. I just gave you all my picks. Let me go to the game. I'm going to go have several of these. I'm going to pull a buddy. Kev, I'll talk to you guys later.
Right.
Paranormal.
Sounds good. Good luck, King. Good luck to your Giants.
Have fun.
All right. Yeah. Hey, so let's So the only thing I wanted to add to this game, we mentioned Sam Darnold a little bit there, that he's probably not playing as badly as people think. And I would say the only bet I made on this so far is the game total under 43. I don't think the Giants are going to do much. I think the Panthers will score on New York, probably 27-14, something like that. And if I was forced to pick a side, I would do Carolina laying 3, and no weather in this game either. So anyway, so that's kind of it on Carolina, New York. We did get a question here. So M1 Flex 3 full PPR: Pitts, Callaway, Bateman, Michael Carter, or Neiman Hines. So 3 out of those 5.
Pitts, Callaway, Hines, and who?
Pitts, Callaway, Rashad Bateman, Michael Carter, and Neiman Hines.
That's awful. I'd go with Pitts. Miami defense. I think Calvin Ridley's back, but Pitts has staked his claim now. Matt Ryan's looking efficient. That Miami defense is awful. I also like the Falcons today over Miami. We haven't touched on yet.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, I like that.
So,
I like that.
Yeah, I like Pitts. I would say Pitts. Everyone else is a dart throw, because they might, if you pick them right, you're a genius. If you're not, you're an idiot. But there's no way to know this. I would say if I had to pick 3 of those, I would go Pitts. I'd probably go Bateman because he's brand new. He's back. Maybe he makes a splash as a rookie. And Callaway is tough because of Jameis, but they do have chemistry. I would probably go Pitts, Bateman, and Michael Carter.
I would go Pitts, Callaway, Bateman, then Hines, but it is what it is. And like you said, it's a coin flip with Bateman and Callaway, but I like Callaway for some reason today.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Those are hard. That's a hard choice there. All right. So moving to the third game of the day, third 1 o'clock, we got Washington going to Green Bay. Washington is getting 8.5 as of now, and the over/under is 48. Now this line is kind of a weird one. This one moved all over the place. This one, I think it started off at 9.5. It started off early at 10. If you bet this Sunday night, you could have gotten Washington plus 10. Then it went all the way down to 7.5. And now it's bounced back up through 8 to 8.5. So this is one where it really, depending on the side you want, you had an opportunity to get a much better line. If you're into Washington, you should have bet it really early. And I got Washington plus 9.5. But if you were Green Bay, you saw it almost bounce down to 7. It went all the way down to 7.5, which would have been great for a teaser leg. All right, so M1, what do you think of the football team going to Green Bay? Again, no weather to worry about in this game either.
It's crazy, right? I think that the spread's a little iffy. I just think that Green Bay lets people hang around. I think that the 8.5 is a little large. I could see Green Bay winning by a touchdown here and a backdoor cover by the Redskins. And the Redskins can score. It depends on how healthy Terry McLaurin is. Antonio Gibson's a little banged up, but he's playing. J.D. McKissick is a good backup, good role player if Gibson is a little banged up. I like the Redskins to cover. Redskins to cover.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's what I said too. I got that 9.5, so I'm feeling good there. A couple things, just I'll add for Green Bay, their center is out. Josh Myers went to IR, so that could be big depending on how good their backup is and who is actually making all the line calls. That might finally get the Washington front on leash, because as we all know, they haven't had a monster season. They haven't had a monstrous start to the season. Dennis Kelly, another tackle for Green Bay, is out today, so they got a couple more problems on that offensive line that maybe Washington can capitalize on. And the real question is, is Washington going to be able to exploit the Green Bay secondary? Last week, Chicago. Sorry, not Detroit. Chicago couldn't do it last week. I don't really know why they didn't try very much, but not the Redskins, is the football team going to be smart enough to put a game plan together where if McLaurin is healthy, that they can actually do some damage to the Packers secondary, do some damage deep. If they can do that, then I think Washington will definitely hang around. Maybe they'll even lead part of the game, and Green Bay pulls it up by a touchdown late, and you get a nice little cover. But I think we'd all say Green Bay's a better team. But again, it's not always a better team. You got that line to worry about, and you got to see if Washington can exploit a couple of matchups. They could pull this one off, or at least get the cover. So that's all I was going to really hit for Washington Green Bay. Probably not the best game on the slate. So we'll move down to Kansas City at Tennessee. Kansas City is laying 4. Actually, let me check what it is right now. It was 4 as of last night, but that's been moving. Kansas City's laying 4.5 now, and the over under is 57.5. And this is a weird one because Tennessee beat Buffalo last week, which was like kind of a world shocker, and the line didn't move in their direction at all. It actually, Kansas City actually went all the way up to 5.5. And this is a case where I got a bad line. I bet Kansas City at -5. I was like, they'll beat them by a touchdown. -5 is fine. But if I had waited, I could have got them all the way down to 4. So I kind of got burned on that line movement. And this also looks like what could be a trap game, which is why I want to kind of go into it a little in some detail here, because like we say, we play numbers, not games. And Kansas City -4.5 is a pretty interesting number. So, M1, what do you got for this one?
The great thing about this is we just seen KC play against Buffalo just recently, and then we've seen Tennessee play against the same team, KC. It looked to me like Tennessee did a much better job against Buffalo's offense than KC did. And that's weird because Tennessee's probably, I've always said that they have the worst defense in the league. That's maybe not the case anymore. I think they're kind of figuring out with Mike Vrabel, how can you not? That's not going to be the case for KC. I love Tennessee getting the 4.5 in this game. I think they can win the game outright. Tennessee is coming off a huge victory last week. This is a big game for them. I feel like they can control the game more than KC can. Tennessee is got King Henry. He's the best running back probably ever. And KC doesn't really like to run the ball. I like Darrell Williams. I've been tooting his horn basically even before the injury to CEH. And but I just still think that they don't really know how to manage the game properly when they have the outlets that they have. They love to go deep. But I think that Tennessee will get the ball in the end zone more often than not over KC. I think Tennessee wins this game outright.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because everything you said, the only thing that gives me pause on Tennessee is they have some injuries in their defensive backfield, and if KC can exploit that, they could get off to a fast start. But I was just looking at the Kansas City scores. They only have one game this season where they did not give up 30 points. And that was against Washington last week with that 31-13 win. Every other game they played, they gave up 30. They gave 33 to Cleveland, 36 to Baltimore, 30 to the Chargers, 30 to Philly, 38 to Buffalo, and then 13 to Washington. So that defense is still in big trouble. It could be a very similar game script to last week where Henry finally takes a while, but Henry gets on track and just bulldozes them. But on the other side of the ball, the Kansas City offense, even with the turnovers, is the number 1 offense in the league by efficiency, which is crazy because everyone's talking about how they're in such bad shape. But I don't think this one's going to be an easy one for Tennessee. It's probably going to be high scoring. It's probably going to be fun to watch. I don't know, if this line were KC -7.5, I'd be on Tennessee all day. If it was KC -3 or less, I'd be on Kansas City all day. I bet them early, and I'm not really confident with that bet. I could see M1 kind of winning his take here with Tennessee +4.5.
And that overall tells me it's going to be an overall day. So say it's like 33-30 or something like that with KC coming out on top. Yeah. I could see KC winning this game with a last-second drive down the field, kicking a field goal, or overtime going in 30-30, and then they kick the field goal in overtime or something like that. Yeah. I expect this game to be an over. I didn't know that KC was giving up 30 a whack. The thing that really scares me there is Philly can't score against anybody.
I know.
30 against KC. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. It is. That's a huge one. That's why I brought it up because that is absolutely crazy. And I think The only thing else I wanted to mention is that Kansas City, everyone talks about it over the last, I don't know, 16, 12 to 20 games, whatever you want to go back. They're terrible.
Yep.
Against the spread, exactly. So I think the books have finally started adjusting it downwards a little bit, and I bet them against Washington. They covered, I think, 5.5 there. I thought it was unbelievable that it was under a touchdown. And this one, this is probably my last time. I'm gonna kind of give the Kings, the Chiefs, obviously a chance to prove that they're still the king of the AFC. If Tennessee beats them here or makes it a field goal game, I'll probably back off Kansas City, for a while.
Let's talk about something real quick, right? Once you give that QB the contract, you no longer have the money to plug in people. And granted, this is the NFL. Nobody can really win on defense anymore.
Yeah.
But they don't have a defense whatsoever. No. So granted, you have a great offense and you can score a lot of points. But if you can't stop anybody, you're in big trouble. That's what we're seeing in DC.
It's crazy because his contract, the numbers haven't even hit yet. Really, when they really hit, it's gonna be him, Hill, Kelsey, and no one else whose name you know. And that there's no way that you're gonna be able to win like that. Like we both agreed, without the quarterback, you can't win in the NFL. But if your quarterback is taking up $45 million of your cap every year, you can't get anybody. They don't even have a third wide receiver. If they had a third wide receiver, most of their problems on offense would disappear. But they don't, and it's kind of crazy to think about. And they're going to be like this for the next 8 years or 9 years.
I'm in the COD world, as you know, and there's been a lot of people that have put up heavy money on Pat Mahomes rookie cards. And I'll tell you right now, if he sniffs just one Super Bowl victory, and he's very lucky, Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew to Emmanuel Sanders. If they connect on that pass, he's 0-2. They can't win the big game. And, and Bill Belichick has given up on 2 Super Bowl championship quarterbacks if Jimmy hits him. So it's crazy. But right now, KC's got 1 Super Bowl victory, and they had a pretty big deficit to come back from in that game, and they almost lost that game. Let's see how they can respond, because if you, like you said, you got Hill, you got Kelsey, and you got Mahomes. Good for you. Let's see what you can do with that, because that's basically all you're going to have.
Yeah, it's nuts. All right, so like we said, if we're going to go, M1 and I are going to go head-to-head on that one, only because I already made the bet. If I had to bet again right now, I would not bet Kansas City, but I already put the money down. So we'll make a little drama here. We'll go head-to-head. Next game, moving along, we'll probably pick these up quick, is Atlanta. As of last night, it was -2. Let me look at it again. So it's Atlanta laying 2 at Miami, and the line is 47.5. And let's not spend a lot of time on this one just because of the 2 teams involved. But what do you think of this line, and what do you think of these 2 teams? And there's no weather to worry about again today. It's going to be hot and humid in Miami, but no rain or wind.
It's Atlanta. It's got to be Miami. Looks like they've already packed it in for the year. Tua looks awful. Now that you got news in the media about Tua going to Washington, Deshaun coming to Miami. That's a deal that's already been done. Now they're just trying to get more collateral or something from other teams. It's going to be Deshaun to Miami, and Miami's already moved on. Tua doesn't believe in himself, and nobody believes in Tua.
Yeah, it's a disaster. I don't have any money on this game, and I won't bet this game. But I agree with you. I do lean Atlanta. The one thing that I've heard a bunch of places, Miami actually only team in the last couple of years that has gone to London to play and did not take their bye the following week. So they got all that extra travel to worry about. Then who knows? The weather might affect them more than Atlanta with the hot, humid temperature kind of being an energy drain. But I would go Atlanta on this one. But again, no real money involved on this one for me. That said, we'll move on to the next one. This is going to be an interesting game because both teams need this game. Jets, last night they were getting 7, still 7. So Jets getting 7 at New England with a line of 42.5. No weather to worry about at Gillette today. Bunch of injuries on the New England side, but Belichick does that all the time. But they got Jonathan Jones on IR, Kyle Van Noy is questionable, Bolden is questionable. Sean Wade is out. He's a cornerback. Dietrich Wise is questionable. Chase Winovich went to IR. Barmore is questionable. Jawan Bentley is questionable. Hightower questionable. Shaq Mason questionable. Ronnie Perkins questionable. So, as usual, New England's got a monstrous injury report. On the Jets side, C.J. Mosley will probably not be back today. He's doubtful. which is good for the Patriots. But M1, what do you think of this game and this line? Jets +7 at New England, 42.5.
The Patriots are not a good team, and they shouldn't be giving 7 points to anybody. Granted, the Jets aren't a good team either, but this is a battle of two bad teams. We took the Texans, I think, as a whole a few weeks ago. And this is going to be the same thing. This is a bad game, and I don't expect the Patriots to win by more than 7. Take the Jets, take them.
And it's kind of crazy that they're laying a full touchdown because these teams are, again, as M1 is saying, much closer than most people well, I don't say most people, but a lot closer than people in New England want to admit. Jets aren't a great team. Patriots are probably a better team, but they're not a great team either. Laying a touchdown is huge in the NFL. You got to really be dominant to lay a touchdown. And the only thing that I'll say also is the Jets are coming off their bye, so that could be interesting. The Patriots need this game if they're going to try to stay relevant. So maybe I don't know if Belichick's got something else up his sleeve, but he's got to see if he can confuse Zach Wilson again. The second time this season with 2 games so close to each other, maybe he can. Maybe maybe Wilson hasn't really matured that much since then. But that's really the only way I see the Patriots winning this game. My bets on this, I do the Jets team total under 17.5. I just don't think the Jets will score a ton, but again, neither one of those things Patriots will either. Maybe Patriots win 2017, something like that. And I bet the first half total under 21. Full game. The full game. The only thing I would consider is using this as part of a teaser leg. You could tease the Patriots down to -0.5. Then basically all you need to do is win. But I would not bet this game at 7. And one final thoughts on that?
I hear a lot of people going, I'm teasing the Packers down and I'm teasing the Patriots down. Watch out with the Patriots. They could lose the game today.
Mm-hmm.
I really think they could lose the game today.
Yeah. If they lose this game, the season's over, right? I mean, that would be it. That would be kind of the nail in the coffin because they played all those close games against good teams, lost them, but at least they were sort of relevant in the game. If they lose this one, I think they're in bad shape. So I can also
with the Patriots, they're kind of coming off a lot of high games. Like they had the Bucks game, and then they had the Cowboys game. This could be a letdown spot in the opposite direction of they just come over so many emotional games, and they just are like, I just think that there's a lot of bad things going on in the Patriots teams. They can't hang on to the ball. They can't run the ball. They can't protect the quarterback. So, like you said, you touched on, this isn't a touchdown spread. This is a tale of 2 bad teams. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, it's good way to put it. And that wraps up the 1 o'clock games, but we're at the 40-minute mark, so we'll probably have to go pick up our pace a little bit. But I love these conversations. Like I think this is stuff we should be talking about. So if we go over a little by a few minutes, we'll go over because I'd rather have the detail. All right. So moving to the first 4 o'clock game, this is an interesting one because it's Detroit at the Rams. Game is in a dome, so obviously no weather to worry about there. Right now the line is the Rams laying 16.5 at home to the Lions, and the over-under is 50.5 on this game. This is probably not a game I will watch, but we got to talk about it briefly. So, M1, what do you think about this? Detroit getting 16.5 in LA?
It's crazy because I always say if there's like a double-digit spread, you take the double-digit dog. I can't with Detroit. I think that the Rams are hot. They're firing on all cylinders. Detroit's got an awful defense, and then their offense isn't going to be formidable against that Rams defense, even though they give up like 398 yards a game. I just think that the Rams are going to show up today. There's ways you can stunt the Lions, and we've seen it time in and time out. They can't get the ball to TJ Hawk anymore. And they got Amon St. Brown. That's it. So I think
and the Rams offense is just tearing it up through the air. Stafford's been phenomenal there. The Lions defense is terrible against pass, so that's going to be I don't see the Rams having a problem scoring points. And also, the Rams are pretty bad on the ground against the run also. So Henderson could have a decent game here. It's going to really depend on what Sean McVay kind of wants to do. Does he want to really keep his foot on the gas and really try to push this, really try to just obliterate the Lions? But 16.5 is a lot of points. I probably would not bet this game.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, if you were forced to pick, I'd probably go Rams. But you know what? If I were forced to pick, I'd go Detroit because 16.5 is a ton of points. And let's say, this is a perfect backdoor cover. Rams are up by 17. line, Goff to Hawkinson, who has been, as you said, trending downward. Last 35 seconds, Goff to Hawkinson goes for 17-point game, 10-point game. Rams don't cover, but I would, yes. So anyway. All right, so moving past that one, the next 4:00 game should probably a little bit of a better game. Two teams again that are very similar to each other in terms of at least their sort of rank compared to other teams in the league. They're both so around average, slightly better than average teams, both by power rating and by DVOA on Football Insiders. It's Philadelphia getting 3 at Vegas. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. Obviously, it's John Gruden saga. You got, Philly. I'm hearing more noise about is Jalen Hurts, the real deal, is going to be an NFL quarterback or not. But actually, let me update this. The line has dropped. So it's actually Vegas -2. So Philly getting only 2 in Vegas. I might bet this game now since that line has changed. But Emil, what do you think about that?
I feel like Philly wins this game, and the reason why is because Darren Waller doesn't look like he's playing. He is their sole provider. You can try and make Henry Ruggs the number 1, but we've seen that time in and time out. I think if you bracket or if you just cover Henry Ruggs and you look at him as the number 1, they're not going to be able to move that ball. I love that they're getting Kenyon Drake more involved. Josh Jacobs says, I can't be the bell cow, get him involved. And since he has, he's a very explosive player. But that Philly defense is a lot better than the Raiders defense. I feel like Philly wins this game. They've been in a lot of games. I like Philly in this game. I think they win outright.
Yeah, I can see that too. Only thing I wanted to mention is Lane Johnson on Philly is probable, so hopefully he'll play this week. Dallas Goedert probable also, so he'll probably play this week. So again, two nice pieces back. Philly's a weird team because when their lines are playing well, they're very dangerous. And right now their defensive front is in pretty good shape. Their offensive line is in pretty good shape. And I think this game is definitely will be within a field goal. Now, if you were going to bet Philly, I think we both agree you should have got it at +3. The whole idea now that it's a 2-point line makes this a little bit harder. This is why I keep saying the same thing. When if you got your side picked out, you got to watch those lines and get it when the getting's good. Because I don't know if I would bet Philly +2. And part of me has this kind of buyer's remorse. But they're not buyer's remorse, but I guess fear of missing out because I did miss Philly at +3. Do I want to play them at +2? Is a hard question for me to get through, and that's some of the psychological part of betting. Also, you missed the line you want. Do you still stay with that side? I'm not sure if I'm going to do that.
I would take Philly in this game because I think they win the game outright. And like you were talking about, they've got some good offensive line, defensive line. That can't be said the same for the Raiders. The Raiders can be ran on, and that's actually what Philly's going to get back to. It's obvious that you need to help Jalen Hurts out. I think they're going to run the ball effectively. They've gone back a little bit more to Miles Sanders. I think that they're going to have a good day running the ball today.
Yeah. I'm going to keep watching this line. Maybe I'll wait as it gets closer to kickoff. It is a later game. Maybe we'll tick back up to 3. But I would look at Philly or probably no bet. The only thing I did bet in this game is Raiders team total under 25.5. For all the reasons we said, Philly defense, the defensive line especially, Henry Ruggs not being a number 1, Waller being containable now. I think Philly can keep them under 25.5. So we'll see how that one goes.
I wonder if that is dropped. That's a great bet.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one again. All right, so next 4:00 game is going to be another probably a clunker of a game, but that's why we have spreads. Chicago was getting 11.5 last night at Tampa Bay. Let me check that again because, as you guys know, you're seeing it in real time here. The lines have changed. Again, this one's now -12. So Chicago getting 12 at Tampa Bay. No weather to worry about. Both teams have a bunch of injuries. Tampa Bay seems like someone's always injured, but the big ones to point out here, Antonio Brown is out for today, ankle issue. Levante David is out. Good thing is Winfield Jr. is probable, so that helps a little bit. Gronk is out. O.J. Howard is questionable. Jason Pierre-Paul is questionable. On the Chicago side, they got a very long injury list, but it looks like Damian Williams will be back, which is good. Akeem Hicks is out, which hurts their run defense. They got Tayshaun Gibson is out. Defense back hurts their pass defense. So it could be, again, like not the most interesting game to watch. But that's why we got a spread of 12. So, M1, what do you think? Chicago getting 12 at Tampa.
It's just funny because Tom Brady has feasted on NFC opponents his whole career, and now he's there, and he's owned the Bears. This is going to be basically this game is going to be. It doesn't matter who Brady's throwing to. Tyler Johnson's probably going to have a great game in Antonio Brown's football. But now you got Justin Fields against that D line of the Bucs. We've seen Vita Vea, man. He runs sprints with wide receivers. Try to outrun him, bro. You can't. I feel like the Bucs, they cover that spread and they beat the crap out of the Bears today. The Bears, no, I don't like the chances. I got the Tampa Bay Bucs on the first half, giving 7. I think that's a wrap. Could they cover the backdoor spread? They could. I don't like ever betting against. I don't like betting with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or Patty Mahomes, but I feel like the Bucs will cover this.
Yeah, I like that first half bet a lot. I'm gonna look and see what I can get it at right now. If it's 7, I'll do it. If it's 7.5, maybe I'll have to think about it a little more. But 7 is that's great. The only other bet I put in for this game already is I put Fields in for over his passing yards. Now his passing yards number is crazy low. It's 213.5, and we know teams can't run on Tampa. So Fields is going to have to pass. And believe it or not, he's been decent throwing deep balls. Chicago, with Bill Lazor calling the plays, has looked better than with Matt Nagy being the play caller. And I think Fields is kind of getting a little better every week. So 213 is not a lot of passing yards. So especially if the Bucs get out to a big lead and Fields is just throwing short intermediate passes the whole second half, I can see him getting this number. So that's the only bet I have. If I had to bet the whole game, and like I said, I'm going to look into that suggestion from M1 Tampa first half. But if I had to bet the whole game, I would probably lean Tampa also. 12 is a weird number. Like we said, the key numbers around that spot are 10 and 13. It's not going to go down to 10, so forget that. And it's so if you're looking for Tampa, it's not going to get to 10. If you're looking for Chicago, it's probably not going to get to 13.5. So it is what it is right now. You got to make your bet with Tampa laying 12, and that's what I would do if I had to bet it. But I'm not going to have any action on this game.
I agree.
All right, another potential blowout special here. We got Houston getting 18 at Arizona. And let me again just verify my number. It's actually 19 now. Houston getting 19 at Arizona. Houston, not a ton of new things, injury report. Jaleel Johnson's out. He's a defensive lineman. And Larry Tussle, which is big, their tackle went on IR a little bit, actually last week, so you should have already kind of knew that, but worth reiterating, Larry Tussle is gone for multiple weeks. On the Arizona side, Chandler Jones is out. He's quarantined. Let's see, Rashard Lawrence is out. He's defensive tackle. Zach Ertz, probable, just got acquired. But we said earlier, we think they're just going to kind of be working him in. But so not a ton of injuries on either side of note. But the problem with the Arizona injuries is that they got a defensive end and 2 other defensive linemen that are either out or questionable. So that might hurt their rotation a little bit. But I'm probably talking too much about this because it's Arizona laying 19 to Houston at home. M1, what do you think about this game?
I feel like I can win 41-0. It's a good week to miss Chandler Jones and all your players if you really. This is like a bye week, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You just hope you get out of this game unscathed. It's a big spread, but I just don't see the Texans competing with the Cardinals, and the Cardinals don't care who they're playing. They want to prove themselves every single week. I don't think that there's a room for a hiccup with the Cardinals. I think that they're driving a Camaro and they're going to outrun everybody. I really do. I've been feeling this since week 1, and they had a hiccup like week 2, and I said, maybe I should pull back on that Super Bowl. No, they're a Super Bowl contender, and honestly, out of all the teams in the NFL, I think that they are the team. They are the team to beat.
Yep. Yeah, you and I think the only place game we sweated was that parlay where they were against San Francisco and they kind of pulled it out only by a score. But overall, they're just taking it to teams and they're spanking them, and kind of like what they did to Cleveland was pretty nasty. And Murray might be hurt, he might not, we don't know. But he looked great last week, so he's probably not hurt that severely. But the only thing I wanted to bring up, and what I want to get your thoughts on this, which is absolutely crazy. Arizona is laying 19, and the over-under is only 47.5. like, I don't know if
I
I've ever
say I
seen.
think they could win 41-0.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really think they could. I think the
yeah.
score could be 4. When I try to look at the game, I try to see the game and what it could be in its full entirety. I really truly believe that I was thinking, what would the score be? 38-0. 41-0. Astronomical speaks. 41-0.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I don't know if I've ever seen a spread that high with a total so low.
It
I mean,
just means that they expect that the Cardinals are going to score and the Texans are not. I could see a shutout here. I'm thankfully that I got the Cardinals in a few fantasy leagues, and they could just win you the league this week. They could get 20 points.
yeah. Yeah, and the only bet I put in earlier this week, and this is again the problem. Now, I always talk about the advantages of betting early, but the problems are if the line goes against you and you already have money down. So I bet earlier this week when the spread was about 16.5, I think I bet Arizona team total under 33.5, which I figured say they win 31-0 or they win 28-3 or something like that. They probably they probably have other things on their mind. They want to blow out Houston, get Kyler Murray out of the game, maybe have him sit the second half, sit the fourth quarter, something like that. But now it's up to 19. It's like a 41-0 route. Could be in the cards. But I'm still not really worried about that bet. But I do like a lot of team sides, team totals this week versus in game. But if you had to bet this game, so put a gun to your head, would you bet the Cardinals minus 19?
I would.
That's crazy, right? I don't think I've ever bet a spread that big, but I probably would take it.
It's crazy because you said you got it at 16 and it went up to 19. So a lot of people were comfortable right around like the 17 mark. I'm not comfortable after the 17 mark, but I could still see them win by 21.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like this is like shows such just this massive disparity in the NFL, which you haven't really seen before. Like a 19-point spread is a college spread. You don't see that in the NFL. But anyway,
so
moving on.
Texans last year were just a very bad team, and they've done nothing to build themselves. Yeah. Actually, they kind of regressed.
Yeah. One of the interesting questions with Houston that I will like. Let's say you're the coach or the GM of Houston. Tyrod Taylor is coming back either next week or the week after. Would you bother playing him?
I don't know. I think that you got to really give Davis Mills, if you feel like he's going to be your quarterback in the future, you give him the rest of the season with Tyrod Taylor. Like, what do you want to put him in there for? Do you want to win games? Because you want the first overall pick. They're not giving up this pick to Miami, right? They get to keep this.
I think they keep this one. Yeah, they keep this one. Yeah,
that's huge. You really want that number one pick.
Yeah.
I think you can. Archman, who was good the other day. So, we'll see. I think you want that number one pick.
Yeah, I think so too. And like I like Taylor, I really do. I think he's like a definition of like a pro quarterback, like a pro, not a pro quarterback, a pro. Like you have him, you know your floor. Your ceiling is probably pretty high, but not through the roof. And you want to teach a young guy how to come up, all that stuff. He's perfect, but. What benefit you got to play him now? So instead of going 0-17, you go 2-15, maybe you squeak 2-0. What good is that? So I feel bad for Taylor because I like him. But anyway, all right, moving on. So that's the end of the 4:00 game. So we got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game to go through, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with a little bit of a few fantasy tidbits from brother Ray, who is also traveling. But before we hit that, Sunday night football. This game I cannot wait to watch. Indianapolis at San Francisco. The line last night was Indianapolis getting 4. Let's check it now, right? I see a drop. Now it's Indianapolis getting 3.5, although between 3.5 and 4, not a huge difference, although 4 is kind of a key number, but not a major one. So San Fran laying 3.5 at home to Indianapolis. There is going to be rain and wind in this game. The wind can be up to 20. Usually the threshold for bad wind is about 20 miles an hour. They're forecasting 19-mile-an-hour wind, so who knows if it gusts above that or not. But that's one thing to factor in with this game, and that's probably why there's such a low total. So, again, San Fran laying 3.5 at home to Indy, and the over-under is 42.5. What do you think, M1?
I love the under in this game because it's going to be a monsoon. I'm scared of the Colts getting points because I think the Colts can win this game outright. But if it's going to be a monsoon, I think the running game favors the 49ers because that's just what they do. The Colts can run the ball too, but they're going to be running into that defensive line of the 49ers, which I don't think the Colts have the defensive line that the 49ers do. Yeah. I think that the monsoon actually helps the home team in San Fran But it's almost like trying to jump on a train when the train's already moving. Like right now, San Francisco has to get up to speed. Colts are playing. So, I think San Fran in the under here, I can see the Colts winning this game outright.
Yeah, this is going to be a good game because this is another one where if you don't follow football that closely, you think San Francisco and Indy, San Fran will crush Indy. San Fran's such a solid team. They got Shanahan, the genius, all that stuff. But then you look at Indy. Indy is, like you said, they're hot. Like Carson Wentz is looking good. They put a couple of good wins together. Jonathan Taylor, he's solid. The only problem they have is with their wide receivers, and they do have injuries there. Again today, so that's probably the one thing I would worry about because Paris Campbell went to IR for his a foot issue, and T.Y. Hilton is out also. So it's going to be a Pittman game, probably a big lean on the running backs, Neiman Hines, probably something to look at, and obviously Jonathan Taylor. On the San Fran side, Trent Williams is doubtful, so he's probably not going to play. You got Jimmy G get his job back. Trey Lance is out. So this is going to be a very interesting game because the teams are so evenly matched, and like I was talking about power ratings earlier. One of the kind of providers that I look at has San Fran at 1.3 points better than Indianapolis on a neutral field. The other one has Indianapolis 0.3 points better than San Fran on a neutral field. So obviously there's not even an agreement, at expert level on who's better. And with DVOA, Indianapolis is 15th and San Fran is 12th. So, you got two very evenly matched teams. The fact that it's in San Fran would probably have me lean to the Niners. But if the Colts pulled it out, and I would probably be happier if the Colts pulled it out because I like the fact that they're coming back after that really rocky start. So my heart tells me Indianapolis. My brain says go with 49ers, especially at that low number there. And the only bet that I did do was the game under 43. I got that earlier in the week, so hopefully that monsoon does hit. It turns into a big, a running game, a slog, and San Fran pulls it out by 4, maybe 17, maybe 21, 14, something like that. I hit my under 43, and we're all happy. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that's the game of the week. The Colts and the 49ers, and it's awesome that it's going to be in a monsoon. I think it could make for turnovers, but I still think that game's an under.
Yep, agreed. All right, now we got Monday Night Football, last game of the week. New Orleans going to Seattle. The line on this game right now is – where is it? What happened here? How did I lose my lines? Let me just go by what I had last night. It was New Orleans laying 4.5 at Seattle. Light rain, light wind, so nothing really to worry about weather-wise, at least as of last night. Probably check that just because it's in Seattle. The big thing here is Geno Smith. But overall, Seattle's probably a better team than most people give them credit for. We talked a little bit about them early in the game, but early in the show. But I don't want to spoil anything here. So I'll let M1 talk a little bit about this particular game. So what do you think about New Orleans traveling to Seattle?
Seattle stung me last week. Still got some negative taste in my mouth. I still got to go against Seattle, though. I think that the Saints defense presents more challenges than Seattle's defense does. But it's tough. I can see Seattle covering the spread, but I'm going to ride with the Saints. I think that this is, I'm hearing good news about Russell Wilson. They're going to take the pin out. He could be back as early as next week. But that's also because they're probably like, we need to win. We need to get back to the good swing of things. I don't think that happens this week. I think that they cover the spread against the weak Pittsburgh defense. And then at the same time, like Ben Roethlisberger is not throwing the ball down the field. He's not scoring a lot of points. I think Jameis can score points, and I think they can score points on that Seattle defense. So that's the only difference I've seen in this game, and that's what I'm going to stick to. Yeah,
exactly. I completely agree with your analysis there. I'll just ask you a couple of questions. What did you think of Geno Smith last week?
I like Geno. I think he's a journeyman. He's been in the NFL. He knows, defenses. But Geno is what he always was. He's not a purebred winner, but he's efficient. He's efficient enough to get the ball across, and he's playing with some good tools on the offensive side of the ball. But if I had DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, I'd be pretty worrisome having him tied to Geno Smith.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very, very good way to put it. And I think that New Orleans Saints defense is phenomenal. So I think they're going to kind of give Geno some fits there. I don't think I don't think he's going to have as easy a time as he had against Pittsburgh, although he didn't really have an easy time there either. So, but I think the New Orleans defense is better. The other thing that's interesting about this game is the over/under is only 42.5, so expect it to be kind of a slugfest. So I would also go New Orleans on this one, but the only bet I made so far on that is first half total under 21. I can see it being very conservative, definitely in the beginning. Maybe even look a little bit like the game against Pittsburgh last week, where it took Seattle a while to figure out how to actually move the ball effectively. I don't think they're going to be able to run on the New Orleans defense. So if they go in with their plan is going to be to bang with Alex Collins, I think the New Orleans defense is too strong, for that to work. So we'll see. But again, my bet was first half total under 21.
What's the verdict on Alex Collins? I'm hearing that he might not play. He hasn't practiced at all week.
Yeah, he's questionable. Yeah, with the groin, he might be out. You're right. He's questionable all week. Obviously, Chris Carson's on IR. Rashad Penny, yeah, he's probable, exactly. I forgot to mention that, yeah. So this might be his first game back in a little while. And it'll be the first time Penny doesn't have anyone really looking over his shoulder because Carson's on IR. And, it might be his chance to shine. He'd probably be an interesting guy to consider for your DFS lineups.
Absolutely.
The only thing on the New Orleans side, I didn't mention injuries. Taysom Hill is out. He's a concussion. And Payne Turner, their defensive end, is out also. Jonathan Harris, wide receiver, is out, but he's not really a huge piece. But Taysom Hill being out obviously affects the quarterback position if it's hurt. And then Payne Turner is actually doing pretty well at the defensive end spot. That could affect things a little bit. I don't think it's enough to turn the tide. I think New Orleans covers this one. All right, so that's kind of everything on the slate. Now, Brother Ray sent a top secret message earlier on some players that you might want to keep an eye on for fantasy. So let me read this quickly. So fantasy nuggets, bye week fill-ins to win your week. He's saying Tua and Matty Ice should both light it up in Miami today. We talked about how bad those defenses are. I'm not a Tua fan. I think Matty Ice has slowly been coming on this season. So those are his quarterback recommendations. At running back, look for Damian Harris to shred the worst run defense in the league. Against the Jets, obviously, Damian Harris on the Pats. Shaking your head. Look for Mixon to put in a dominant effort today. We talked about him a little bit. I think that's probably a good one. At wide receiver, look for Darius Slayton and Zach Pascal to step into high-volume situations because of injuries. Zach Pascal could be a good one to look at in Indianapolis. And then at tight end, he says Goddard joins elite level with Ertz in Zona. Now, you and I both think it'll take a little while to work Ertz in, but I can see Dallas Goddard having a good game today. And then his last tight end recommendation is Pitts should dominate the Dolphins today. So that's it from Brother Ray. I don't even know where he is. He's at some undisclosed location, but he's always grinding. All right, so we're a little bit over the hour. We're at an hour and 7 minutes. But I really love the show. I think this was one of the good ones. I think we got into a lot of detail on all the different games. Any final thoughts you want to share? Any suggestions? Any parlays you can you're looking at?
No, I'm actually going to get into all that right now. I had a very busy weekend, but I wish you guys all the success you can have. Best of luck to everybody. Fantasy, putting your spreads. Don't feel, hit me up on Facebook if you have any questions. And good luck.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, everyone, we wish you all the best of luck. Again, this is another weekend. It's a little bit tough to bet. You heard most of my bets are, like team totals and first halves and player props, all that kind of stuff. Some weeks you got to do it that way. Not every week's going to have a ton of sides that you love. So, but you always got to look for value. And one of the biggest things with sports betting is you got to make a lot of bets. Got to get your bets out there because if you have an edge, you want to bet a lot. So I'll leave that with you. So thank you for tuning in to Legit Fantasy Football, the October 24th, Week 7 edition. Tomorrow night, Monday night, we'll have the first regular season edition of Legit Basketball. So that's going to be a good one. And tonight, I forgot to say, at 7 will be Legit Paranormal, which King Michael will still be traveling. He'll probably be actually, by the time he's about 7 o'clock tonight with the Giants getting beat again, trading Leonard Williams, he'll probably be in like an institution somewhere, but hopefully we can get him to dial into the show if he is in fact on his way home. So that's it. We'll wrap up Legit Fantasy Football. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Good luck with your games. Good luck with your fantasy. Good luck with your DFS.